Welcome back to the podcast. I am your host, Bethany Skillern, and this is Teach Skills You Learn. So, it has been a long minute, and I'm deeply sorry for that. But I'm back. I'm back with a project today. Today, I am going to show you a project in which I do basically from start to finish. I do have a you know what? I did have a video of me laying out where I was going to do this project, what it was I was going to do. I might be don't I don't think I have it. I'll scour my drive for it, but I just don't think I have the video. So sorry about that. But what I am going to show you are clips, or I'm going to show you of me making this project. And the project is this lift for it's a clothes rack, a clothes drying rack that I put on a lift that raises and lowers from the ceiling so that when you're using it, you can drop it down from the ceiling. You can either leave you hang your clothes on it, and then you can leave it there or you can raise it back up so it's, out of the way. But it is in front of a door that is used quite often by us. So I don't see it being down or lowered for an extended period of time, just because we do use this door. It goes outside to the backyard. So it's something that we do use often. So therefore, the clothes rack probably would be suspended more than it would be lowered. Let's begin. And so we've got our 2x4. And what I'm going to do with my 2x4 is I'm going to and we need 2 at 6 feet long and 4 I don't know what that's going to be yet. So let's just when you're working with a power tool like this, it's best to know how the power tool. I've got my DeWalt radial arm saw. It has a foot of 12 inches to cut wider stock. I don't need the radio, or is it the arm part? Radial is the radius, so the arm part. I don't need the arm part. I'm just going to chop away. But as we go through this project, I can explain a little bit how everything kind of works. I don't want to leave you in the dark with how power tools work. They're great. It's a great tool. All right, so I've marked my 6 feet. Now let me grab my speed square. I don't know why I'm not ready for this. Oh, I do know why, because I just thought about, like, oh, maybe I should record this. Maybe I should show you all, since I haven't done a video in a while, or I haven't done an episode in a while. Let me show you how this works. So how I do my project. So speed square. It has many functions and many uses. I will go over it with you eventually or in some other video, but it's just not going to happen right now for the purpose of just getting this project done today. I'm just going to go at it, okay? So marked it. this is how I mark my line. I'm going to cut so that my line is either exposed or I just shave that line off. I use the blade of my saw. My hand is off the trigger, and I'm going to use the blade edge or the tooth of the blade to see where it's going to cut. And then I bring my line right up to that blade edge. Now that I know it's at the blade's edge, the line is, I'm going to pull the trigger with the wood, with the blade off of the wood. We want to get it to full circulation or full power, and then we begin to slowly bring the chop down on, allowing the blade or the teeth of the blade to do all the work. All right? We keep our wood or a piece tight against the fence because the blade is, or the circular of this blade is moving towards the blade, or excuse me, towards the back. So therefore you want to keep your piece of wood tight against the back of the fence so that, you know, if you were to have the piece away and start the blade, it's going to shoot that piece of wood all the way to the back. So that is why we hold it tight up against the fence. We hold it tight up against the foot or the floor or the bottom part of the saw so that we get a nice square cut. All right, so here's one at 6 feet. My shop is apparently not big enough. All right, I'm looking at this piece of wood, and I want to get, I want to cut so that I'm not cutting on a knot. I don't want a knot. All right, so I'm looking, this knot is pretty ugly. 6 feet is here. This knot is pretty bad. Maybe if I look at, maybe this is 3 feet, so maybe I can get 3 feet, 3 feet. Maybe this one I won't use as the long piece. Maybe I'll use this as one of my shorter pieces. This one doesn't look too bad. Got a couple knots. Let's see where these knots end up on the 6 foot length. But if I start at this end, I think we'll be okay. This side of the wood isn't too bad. So let's cut this knot off. I'm holding my piece tight up against the fence. Let's see if we can get this to. This apparatus really helps to maintain that downward pressure onto, because as I see, again, we pull the trigger after, we start chopping after the blade is at its full radius, full power. At its full power, okay? This is garbage. I don't know where my garbage is, so, you know, such is life. Here we are. So now we slide this. We're gonna mark it 6 feet. All right, 6 feet is here. Mark it with my pencil. Okay. Hit it with a speed square. Okay. All right, so now we've got the line, teeth edge to the line, downward pressure again. Like I said, you want downward pressure and tight pressure against the fence. Just double check, we measure. And as I see, after checking with my blade, I see that this had moved. Making sure we have the line exposed. If I don't have, you know, if I cut on the exposing the line, it's fine. I tend to, when I chop, I tend to go through the piece, stop the blade, and allow the blade to stop moving before I come back up. You know, as you saw, this part of the piece bounced up. If I was to bring that blade back up, and if this piece had moved away and lifted up, now by me cutting or having the blade still operating and this piece now not flat against this, you might shave off and make it not square. Okay, so we want to stay as squared as possible. So now I've got two of these pieces that are at 6 feet in length. What I would love to do is put a stopper, which I might end up doing, which I think I'm going to do with this spare piece of wood or this. I'm going to make a stopper so I get consistent cuts. I'm going to grab a clamp. Clamp down this piece of wood. Now I have a stopper. I can get all of these cuts to be the same, which is what I'm looking for. I don't want my piece to be on a knot. I don't want to drill into that. I don't want to be close to it. So I'm going to cut that knot off. It'll be good. And there it is. 4 pieces at 33. So now that I have my 33 inches, let's make just a double check. We're going to measure to make sure I did this right. And we're looking for 36 inches or 3 feet. I do have that, which is great. This is perfect. So my inside is 33 inches. My overall is 36, making this what I want it to be. Okay, so now what we got to do is we're going to lay this puppy out. So let me get my handy dandy pencil, my speed square. All right, so on this end, we're going to have a piece of this on the end. This is going to be 1.5 inches. Okay. Oh shit. Let's not be a drunken sailor here. Okay, so 1.5 inches. Okay. Then if I go here 2 feet, right? So this will be 2 feet on center. So now to find half of 1.5 inches, the center of 1.5 inches is 3/4. So if I go, because 3/4 plus 3/4 is 1.5 inches. So if I go 3/4 this way, right? So that puts it 23 1/4. And I go 3/4 this way, that puts it at 24 3/4, right? So now this is not only my center, but now I found each end of the board, right? So now we speed square this, speed square this. This is my center, so I am going to draw a line on the outside of my board at the center point, right? Okay, this is where I'll use, I'm going to use this line to, screw or nail. And then I'm going to draw these 2 lines, or one side of one line. It doesn't matter, however you want to do it. But this is to show that your piece is going to go right in the center, like this, right? And then you'll know where your screws or nails are going to go, this line. You know that your piece is going to go in between these. You can do it that way if you want. So now we're going to do the other side. So this side is going to be 1.5 inches. Okay, so this is a 2.5 inches is here. That's the, okay. And then we're going to go, we're going to go 2 feet in, right? Remember, 2 feet is now center. Is now center. And we're going to go 3/4 this way. So 24 3/4. And we're going to go 23 1/4. Okay. Speed square again. Speed square is, this line is going to go, I'm going to use that as in reference to the board. Okay. And this line here is going to be the center, which I'm going to use to mark this part. Okay. Nail and screw. This port is going to be the used to line up the 2x4. All right, so now we roughly have, if I go inside to inside, so I've got right now, this is marked at 23 1/4. From the end of this piece of wood to the, so it's, in essence, it's going to look like this. Okay. Oh, Jesus, why does that not look right? Did I fuck up here? I think I fucked up here. Oh, I went, see, look at that. I went 24.5. I need to be 24 3/4. So shit the bed on that. So let's do it right. Good God. And I've had my cup of joe, and I've had my cup of coffee. All right, there we go. So now this inside dimension will be 22 1/4. So now I have to do math. 22 to figure out the next section is how many dowels are going to be in each location. So I've got 3 locations here. I've got 1 on the board, I got 2, and I got 3. If I have 25 dowels, well, 25 divided by 3 is just not going to work. But if I do 24 divided by 3, 8 dowels in each section here. So what can 8 dowels? Well, let's see if we can come up with something that looks reasonable. All right, in between here. So now we have an idea of in between these markers, it's 22 1/4 divided by, let's see here, 22 1/4 divided by 8. Is that what we're looking at? No, that's not what we're looking. Yes, it is like, that does look like that's what we're looking at. So if I need 8 in between these 2 lines, I want to get 8, right? Can we go, so let's see here, how do we do this? Let's do this. Okay. If I do 1, 2, 7 16ths. This is a 1/2 inch thick dowel, half of that's quarter. So this is going to be 7 16ths, and this is on center. The dowel radius is a 1/2 inch, so it's quarter. So now if I go another send 1, 2, 7 16ths. We're gonna quarter, that's center. And let's see what's here. 1, 2, we're a little over. So the center part is going to be 3 inches. So with that laid out, I'm going to draw the line, all my center cut lines, I'm going to draw them the lower part of the frame so that because I don't think I want to center it, because if I mean I could. Excuse me, let's see what center looks like. 3 1/2, 1 1/2 is 3. A half of the half is a quarter, so 1 3/4 is half the distance. 1 3/4. So the dowel, I thought I had the bit out. Here it is. So now we can see that I've mirrored this whole thing, right? So now at these little points right here, we're just going to drill using this center punch. Helps in making this be the guide to the point on this so it doesn't slip around. Because if you don't do a center punch, this thing is just going to slip around on the line. Let's grab a dowel. And we're going to test to see if one of these dowels it does. See, look at that. Now, if I wanted to see how deep this is, I'll draw a line on this dowel, and what I'll do is I'll measure this line, right? It's about 3/8. Could go a little bit deeper, eh? All right, so now we've got holes on both sides. Okay. That was a lot of fun. Took a lot of fucking arm strength. But here we are. So now we can go to assemble the entire rack. So let's see if we can do this. Let's see if I can prop you up. Oh, actually, no, we got to cut all of our dowels. So let's see here. We went 1/2 inch. Let's see if we can. I think it was this line here. So this line here, from here to line to the end, is 1/2 inch. 34 inches. We're going to go a skosh under. So now we want to go. Let's grab our pencil. 34 inches. And then we're going to also cleat it like we did before. So 34, we're going to go a skosh under. Okay. You're like, Beth, what is a skosh? It's a great question that you ask. What is a skosh? Not 1,000% sure what a fucking skosh is. It really was just a 16 under. That's what I went under. So I'm at 33 and 15/16. I just made a cleat with my block of wood, using a clamp and a piece of wood so I can get this consistent cuts. And we're gonna go. So this dowel ends up being at 33 15/16 because 34 was the total amount that we wanted. So now we can do all 24 of our dowels at 30. Right? We got all of our dowels cut. We got our rails cut. We got our holes, and we've got our. So now we're gonna go for assembly. Okay, so the assembly. What size? Oh, 3-inch screws. I guess we're gonna go with these. All right. Move all of this disaster out of the way. Okay. All right. So let's take this first board. Okay. Oh, scoot down, scoot down. All right. So let's do. Okay. So we can do right. Do I get to see whether this works or not? I hope so. Okay. Loving it. I'm loving when something works. All right, so now to get a good clamp on the situation, shall we? I think we shall. I think we shall. I don't know if this is long enough. Oh, it is. Okay. Ooh, how fun. All right, so now how we're going to do this is we're going to assemble this on an angle. That's how we used to do it in the cabinet shop, right? Yes. This will work. I know it will. I have faith in myself. Okay. So what I do is okay. Right. And then grab the speed square. Make sure that's pretty flush on the top. We grab the speed square and we're gonna okay. That is there. So what I'm gonna do is glue this. Push it up on the top. Okay. I'm gonna grab this 3-inch because it's twice the thickness. Thickness is 1.5 inches. 3. Oh God, kill me now. All right. Okay. So now, I have another one of these boards. Place that over there. Ooh. All right. Move that down there. All right. Place this height. Okay. And then we're just going to glue this end as well. We're going to rinse and repeat. Right? I want this flush to the top. Okay. I want this square. Hammer. Hammer, hammer, hammer. It's hammer time. Okay, right? So now we need to do it on the end. This one we should pre-drill because we're at the end here. When you're at the end of the board here, to prevent splitting or anything like that, we're going to pre-drill. Okay, and that's what we're going to do. Let's grab some bits and let's pre-drill. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Let's pre-drill. Only because we want to prevent that splittage. Ooh, I'm gonna juice real quick. Just remember to spit on. Just by eye. All right, let's put this puppy down here. Let's move this down. Let's grab this guy. Okay. Glue and screw again. I can start building this on the ground. So now we need to do it on the end. This one we should pre-drill because we're at the end here. When you're at the end of the board here, to prevent splitting or anything like that, we're going to pre-drill. Okay? And that's what we're gonna do. Let's grab some bits and let's drill. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Let's pre-drill. Only because we want to prevent that splittage. Ooh, I need juice real quick. Just trying to remember there's a spitter on here. It's just by eye. All right, let's put this puppy down here. Let's move this down. Let's grab this baby. Okay. Glue and screw again. I might need to start building this on the ground. Okay. Drive the screw in. No splits. That's the way you do it. And as you see, I'm working with two different brands, but that's kind of like what life happens. I mean, I have had my DeWalt for so many years that I would never even give it up for the half a chance or the opportunity for just Milwaukee. No, it's not, oh shit, it's not like that for myself. It's not, I'm not that brand specific. So while I love you know, I love them both. I love them both equally. It's like children. I love them both equally. I do have to say, I do love them both equally. I get benefits out of I do get benefits out of the both of them. So it's can't choose one over the other because they both serve a great purpose. So la-di-da. This is what happens when you work in a small shop. Okay. And yeah, so being brand specific is not what if I'm going to choose out of the two from here on out, you know, it'll be based on research and all of that jazz. Okay, so now that we have all of these together, right? Now, here's the trick is to, now we got to get all of these dowels situated. I wonder if I should put this down. Maybe I will put this down on the ground. Let's see. I'm wondering if that's the way. I don't know. We'll see. This may work. This may not work. This may go to piss me off. But hey, what project doesn't piss a human off? Because it becomes, you get to the point where you're at the project and you're seeing light at the end of the tunnel. You're seeing, oh, I'm getting almost there. I'm there to almost completion. I'm wondering. Oh shit. Okay. Calicimari, look what I got. I got one extra. How about that? What you know about that? God. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. Can we do this with the least amount of damage? I hope so. Yeah. I didn't move that block because who knew I was gonna. Is it just me? Okay, so this part of the project, I'm just going to kind of explain what I'm doing here. And it starts off, use the center point pulley system where you drop a line down in the center, and then at 4 points you lift up this whatever it is, whether it's a base, rack, device, whatever. So you see me measuring out soon the center point of 3 feet and the center point of 6 feet. And then you see me pre-drilling these holes, and what I'm going to use is the eyelet that is threaded at the bottom, and you started off with your pre-drilled hole, and then you use a screwdriver or a long lever type of you stick the screwdriver in the eyelet, and then you just use it like a T-handle. And then you see me with this cord, which is rated for 340 pounds. And so I believe because there's 4 points, you can actually take that 340 pounds, and I think you can multiply it by 4. But don't quote me on that. That should be able to give you over 1,000 pounds worth of lifting weight. But, you know, like I said, don't quote me on that. But nonetheless, even if that rack is 340 pounds with wet clothes on it, yeah, I mean, I don't see that ever happening. So now you see that I've actually moved those eyelets to 4 points. And I have taken that center drop or that center point, and I have crisscrossed my lines so that this is what the formal hook, this is what it looked like. So that hook just was too big. So I'm trying to tell you that the hook was too big. So I just looped it, and then I used a crimper to crimp at the center point. And so I'm, like a dumbass, I'm thinking, oh my God, zip ties is gonna save me from this thing twisting in the wind. I'm such an idiot. But nonetheless, here I am trying to work out this this method of this center point drop, and then trying to find these 4 points that's going to allow me to pick this thing up, which it picks it up, but it starts swinging in the wind because there's no stability in this system. So I have to crank this thing up and down quite a few times for me to understand that this is like the worst theory that I could come up with for lifting this rack. I mean, this thing is swinging around. I'm like trying to think, what can I use to stabilize this? How can I stop this? If I attach something to the wall, that'd be, like then I thought, well, maybe I can drill a hole in the next to the eyelets and drop a line down. But then what's the purpose of that if you're gonna drop 4 lines in the thing so it stabilizes it? So then you got to drill into the concrete on the floor, then you got to drill into the ceiling. So like this doesn't, like how am I going to make these 4 points not only carry the load, but at the crossing point. Like, how do I stop this thing from, you know, it's like a teeter-totter. And then on top of that, she just swings, like she's just like twisting in the wind. So I'm sitting here thinking. Here's me thinking, the hell, what the hell? So now I'm trying to, understand what in the heck is going on. So thinking, and now here we are, next different day, maybe even different week. So I thought, well, with that 4-point system, maybe I'll just do that in a dolly, like in a pulley system. So I'm like, well, if I do the pulley system, fantastic, that works. I got this corded line that I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't know if that's going to the corded line. I mean, obviously that's going to be enough. Uh, it's thick enough to I think it was 3/16. It's gonna be thick enough to be able to support the weight. So I'm just like, well, let's just screw this baby in. So you see me putting in these pulleys at the same square point of the where the eyelets were, right? So you see me screwing this puppy in. So now I'm getting the paracord. So paracord is again rated for a really good amount of weight, and um, from what I can remember, don't quote me on this, but I think with the 4 points, whatever that weight rating is, like I said with the line, the the coated the coated what do you call it? The coated wire, or the coated I guess it is a wire. I was like, well, that could hold weight. And with the paracord is also it's rated for weight as well. And paracord is, known for climbers, so it holds weights depending how thick it is. For boats, depending how thick it is, it can. I mean, again, it's a concept, or it's been in for hundreds of years, thousands of years, probably, if you go back in time. So I got myself paracord. I feel like that would be, it would work in terms of holding weight. It's gonna, like, am I worried about the rubbing? I mean, I'm not, because this thing's not, I don't see this thing going up and down a whole lot of times to where I'm gonna have to worry about it fraying or rubbing. So now you see that I've marked a line um, with my freaking laser beams. So now I have to, where those pulleys are on the lift, or on the dry rack, I have to mimic that on the ceiling. So you see me laying it out. So I'm laying out in the same spot that I need it, where the other pulleys are. And this is where I actually start to worry that I'm going to run out of pulleys, because I only have so many pulleys that from a previous project, and then I purchased pulleys that, I pretty much took all the pulleys from Home Depot. So now I actually end up taking the pulleys off of the rack, which thankfully was what I had to do because I was running out of space in the ceiling as well. So I took off the pulleys off the rack. I used it onto the project on the ceiling, and I actually needed to have 4 pulleys, which were from the rack, as the center. It was right in the middle of that 3-foot length width. So I actually was able to use those parts. And as you saw previously, when I'm drilling into, and you can see here too, that I'm drilling into a stud, I want to hit the stud at least one screw I wanted to hit the stud. I needed to hit the stud because I needed to be able to support the weights. So at least one screw on all of those pulleys is hitting a stud. And then the other screw is using an anchor bolt, which is weighted for weight as well. Rated for weight as well. So here I have my loops. I've made my loops, and now my rack is on the floor. I have my loops. I'm about to make my. I have to cut my pulley line and off my winch. I have to cut that line one more time. This is like the third time I've cut this line. As you saw earlier, I took that hook off. So now I have to apply a, and I think I end up reapplying. If I don't end up reapplying the hook, what do I have there? It's probably some type of metal ring or whatever it is to receive these four lines. Now each line that goes, and you see those four eyelets, so I go back to the eyelets and you can see each line is connected to the eyelets. So what I'm trying to do is I am trying to lift this rack as high to the ceiling as I can, because I've realized that with the rack being on the floor, there's too much slack. So I need to lift this rack to reduce the slack so that I can create these eyelets that will, in essence, give me enough space to drop and lift this rack, so that when it's at its highest point, it's above the door, as you saw me open the door, and then at its lowest point, which I wish I could have gotten at least waist high, but because of the distance between where it meets, that's that's where I have to how do you say it? I have to where I have to, where I wish it was at waist high instead of at I think it's at maybe a little bit below shoulder height. So now that I've got this rack in the spot that I need it or want it, right? So now you see me kind of just going back and forth with this thing, making sure that the height is right, making sure everything is, the door can open. And again, it's just, it's all like, from here, it's all like, you're just kind of, you're doing things over and over again and repetition to ensure that it's actually working properly in the way that you need or want it to work. So you see me doing the final adjustments here, and just to get the height, making sure that by eye it looks like it's level. From here it may not be, and it may not be, but it does clear the door. That's all I care about. And you see me doing the fine tuning of it. The last time I'm up on that ladder is I'm cutting the pair line, or I'm paracord. I'm cutting it. So here now you see me lifting and lowering this this rack so that I can ensure that it is actually working properly. You can see it clears. You can see it working properly. So I was able to overcome that issue that I had. I was able to rethink how I needed this to work, and then you see me, working it out. So it took, in total, like, it really took probably 2 weeks in total, maybe. It might have been 2.5 weeks by the time I actually completed this from, um, I'd say from start to finish. But nonetheless, she's up now. She works beautifully. We've been using it quite a bit. So it's really been a really nice thing, or a nice addition to the house in terms of it really takes uh, the unsightliness maybe of it, and takes it out of sight, out of mind, lifts it up to the ceiling. It's out of the way. You don't have to worry about bumping into it or whatever, but you can also leave it down and dry your clothes. Or what we've done is put the clothes on and then brought it back up to the ceiling and let it dry up there. I mean, heat rises, so it's not like it's gonna, not like it's gonna not dry up there. It's actually gonna probably maybe even dry faster up there. But it's out of sight, out of mind. And so it's not hard to drop that, crank that winch down, and drop the rack down. It's really not that hard to do. And because of the distance from, you know, from where you saw that center, where all those lines met, all four of those cords met, to the back of the wall, as you saw, it wasn't very far. So it's not like you're cranking it forever and eternity. So it actually really worked out. It's been working out very nicely for us. So I just want to thank you again for joining me. I'm again sorry for the delay and how long it's taken, but I just want to impress upon you to be kind to one another. Do a random act of kindness for a stranger or loved one, and just remember that we're all in it together. And your act of kindness added to somebody else's act of kindness, and together that just makes it's a better place to live and to raise our family. So thanks again for joining me. This is Teach Skills You Learn, and I am your host, Bethany Skillern, and we'll see you next time.